We are ready to rock. Our soft launch of the podcast. It's officially Instagram official.
It's a hard launch now.
It's a hard launch. As hard as it gets. Why don't we start, Rachel? Because we've done sort of like I guess less nerd focused shows the last two weeks. Why don't we do a Nerd Thursday?
Nerd Thursday.
A Nerd's Day, if you will. This is something that came up right off the top of my head. So no planning. Nerd's Day. Let's just go through. Let's lean into the whole graph aspect of the pod. Why don't we? And let's talk about some stuff that has jumped out to us.
I like it.
I guess this week, and we can start with history happening last night.
History
in the making. In that Alexander Ovechkin was held shotless without a shot on goal for 2 consecutive games for the first time in his career.
That's crazy. Honestly, to think about it, he's been in the league since 2006. Mm-hmm. It is now 2023, so that's nearly 20 years.
Yes.
And he has not had a single instance where he's not gone 2 games without a shot on goal. Like, that's crazy.
I believe this is either year 17 or 18 for him. He has played well over 1,000 games, and this is the first time that he has not gone over. he has not gone 2 games with a shot on goal. Now, it doesn't shock me that it's happening now.
Same. Agreed.
And yes, age is a factor, but like Ovechkin has had to sort of adapt his game because he used to be sort of like a bull in a china shop. You know, we talked about this a little bit on last podcast, but he used to be like a bull in a china shop. He was running all over the place, hitting people. You know, like he had a million different goal highlights because he was off the rush. You know, obviously the one behind his back.
Oh yeah, the power forward. When you talk about being a power forward, he was the first probably like 7-8 years of his career. Ridiculous power forward. Like he just trucking people and also scoring 50 goals a year.
He literally was like if Tom Wilson was the greatest goal scorer of all time.
Right.
which is what he was. Now, though, he's had to adapt his game because the foot speed isn't quite there anymore. And the game has only really gotten faster. And frankly, like, maybe not bigger, but like the bigger guys have more speed and finesse than ever.
Tage Thompson,
a player like Tage Thompson didn't exist when Ovechkin went in the league. A player of Tage Thompson's size was like Darian Hatcher, and he could barely move.
Yeah, it's true.
Now these guys are you know, going between the legs, pulling off Michigans. So he's had to be somewhat more of like a surgeon on the ice. He has to wait in his office. He's got to score with a scalpel more than a hammer like he was before. So I can understand why, but like I think this also goes to a bigger, like we can talk about real quick and I know obviously that we didn't peg them as like going to be a good team, but the Capitals' quote unquote downfall so far.
It's like not even they're an 18-wheeler, kind of like going off a cliff. But like the thing I don't understand is you have Nick Backstrom, you've got Evgeny Kuznetsov, you've got Dylan Strome. Why is Alex Ovechkin playing with Dylan Strome of those 3 centers I just named? Like that does not make any sense to me. I understand Nicholas Backstrom has had a fall off, but there is no better passer on the Washington Capitals than Nick Backstrom.
There's no better passer like for Ovechkin too. Backstrom has basically like allied Ovechkin's oop his entire career, you know?
Yes.
Like that's what he's being the Scottie Pippen if Scottie Pippen or Nicholas Backstrom is being Ovechkin's Scottie Pippen if this Ovechkin or Backstrom didn't get completely bitter, you know, halfway through their friendship.
This is true.
You know. I bungled that, but yeah, Scottie Pippen.
Today,
I believe,
Junior.
And also I believe Marcus Jordan, who's Michael Jordan's. I'm not sure if you know this.
I didn't even know there was a Marcus Jordan.
So Marcus Jordan, Michael Jordan's son. Do you want to know who he's dating?
Scottie Pippen's daughter.
Larsa Pippen, Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
Wow. What?
Yes. She is like 15 years older than him, and Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan don't talk. And Larsa Pippen, I believe, cheated on Scottie Pippen. I'm not sure if it was with Marcus Jordan.
How old is Marcus Jordan?
Let me look that up. He's not old.
Okay, so he's...
Well, think about how old Michael Jordan is, right? Like he's
okay,
like...
but I just want to... You used to be best friends. And now you are...
So Larsa Pippen's 49, Marcus Jordan is 32.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So it would be they're basically the Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen if if Sergei Ovechkin didn't end up dating Nicholas Backstrom's ex-wife, if he even has one. So
good Lord.
Anyway, that was a long way to go around it, but yes, the Washington Capitals are looking horrible. And listen, we didn't know. Or we didn't think they'd be good, per se.
No, none of us thought they were making the playoffs.
Of course. But I don't think we expected them to be this bad. And also, their streak of 588 straight sellouts ended this season. And we're 3 games in.
See, that's kind of crazy to me because even though the team is not that good, you are watching history. That's basically all you're watching at this point.
Yeah, their Stanley Cup is getting Alex Ovechkin the goal record.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm going to be the one to say it. That goal record is more impressive than a Stanley Cup. It is harder to achieve. So
He's already won a Stanley Cup, too.
People win the Stanley Cup every year. This goal record, we're talking...
One person ever.
Exactly. It is more rare to do this. So I actually don't have a problem with the Caps being like, you know what, this is actually the priority here. They can say, oh, we want to win, we want to do this, we want to do that. No. The priority is the goal record, and frankly, it should be.
Thank the Lord in heaven they won that cup in 2018.
Oh my God, because the discourse.
It's just not like... It just would have been like an even higher profile like Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah, he's the greatest goal scorer of all time.
Because now that Ovechkin has a cup, like we would have literally, and it would have been a ridiculous conversation, but we would have legitimately had is Ovechkin a Hall of Famer because he doesn't have a cup conversation? I guarantee you someone would have brought that up.
Exactly, and that's honestly, right there, that should just end the debate. It's like, you don't need a cup to be in the Hall of Fame. Marcel Dion, arguably the greatest player to never win the cup. I think he's 4th all time in scoring or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Hall of Famer. Just because hockey is a team sport. It's not Roger Federer, it's not Rafael Nadal, it's not individual. It's a team sport where you're only on the ice max a third of the time. Mm-hmm. It's not like basketball where LeBron plays 42 of the 48 minutes in the playoffs. So the reality is if the team around you isn't good, you're not going to win. And that doesn't mean you're not good. CC Connor McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
Connor McDavid's a Hall of Famer if he retired today.
Yes.
And he doesn't have a cup or an Olympic gold medal because the NHL can't get its crap together. But to have a Hall of Fame debate because X player doesn't have a cup is so stupid to me. Because are you going to sit here and tell me that Justin Williams is a better hockey player than Alex Ovechkin because Justin Williams has a cup? You're insane.
Justin Williams has 2 cups, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's twice as good as Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby, 3 times as good as Alex Ovechkin. No.
Marcel Dion. Bum. Yeah.
Henrik Lundqvist. Bum. Best looking bum there ever was.
Jerome McGinley. Bum. All Matt Sundin. Bum. All these guys.
Phil Kessel. Not a bum.
Phil Kessel, and I'm still holding out hope that he signs somewhere. It won't be Toronto, obviously. They don't have the cap space to do anything, but still hoping.
There's 17 teams in LTIR.
There were 17 teams that started a player short this year.
Solid.
At least one player
lead.
short, which I believe is 20. In terms of the amount of actual players, I think it was 23 players or 23 jobs that were available. If everyone iced a full 23-man roster, there were 23 jobs because the cap was so flat. That basically 23 NHL players had to start.
I saw somebody predict that.
Again, another roundabout way of saying that.
Yeah, I saw somebody say that they think in the next negotiation that the owners are going to want a bigger piece of the pie, and I'm like, there is no scenario where the owners should be getting a bigger piece of the pie. In fact, the only scenario that is remotely acceptable is they should be getting less, because they are legitimately not incurring any risk. Guys are going out there, getting injured, putting their bodies on the line, and you're sitting up in a suite. You assume zero risk. So for any owner to say, I deserve more than 50%, you don't deserve more than 40%.
If Marty Walsh lets that happen, he should be forced to walk out onto the ice, onto Lake Ontario when it's frozen until he falls through.
Just no.
He has The Dark Knight Rises.
He has to block an Ovechkin slap shot.
No pads. It's boggles my mind. But 588 straight sellout games are off. I know they're trying to get the Ovechkin to the goal record and everything, but there's no reason why they can't do that while tanking.
Yeah.
Like, they got Ryan Leonard, which is a phenomenal draft.
Hendrix Lapierre is going to be amazing.
Yeah. Connor McMichael's coming up.
Ryan Chesley is going to be a great defenseman for them. They've got Rasmus Sandin, Marco Ferravari, Alexander Alexiev. Like, they've got some good pieces, right?
Yeah.
I think there needs to be some room made. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Nicholas Backstrom retires or gets LTIR next year. Evgeny Kuznetsov, they've been trying to trade for
forever.
A decade.
Yeah.
Who even knows, right? And so you've got Darcy Kemper. That's a legitimate piece in goal. So you're going to have to get rid of him if you want to tank. Because that's like the Canucks trying to tank with Thatcher Demko. Like, good luck with that.
Yeah, I don't think Darcy Kemper is at the level that it would really, like, he's not playing well this year, and I don't know if he's at the level where, I mean, you obviously would like to get rid of him.
You'd prefer, like,
but it's not
can
Thatcher
you get
Demko.
Eunice Johansson from Tampa and trade them Darcy Kemper?
Well, that's actually a great, why don't we make that our segue into talking about the Lightning, who are losing a lot, and
are the Lightning broken?
The Lightning, I'm not sure if they're broken, I think that the downfall is here. And I know we're saying that 3 games into the season, and obviously they are without, like, they're without their top goaltender, one of the top goaltenders in the league, in Andrei Vasilevskiy, and they have Eunice Johansson.
Mike's having trouble speaking
I'm
today.
having a stroke on this podcast. This is ridiculous. They have Jonas Johansson. There it is.
There it is.
Who I will always bring it up when his name comes up, but I believe it is. I think it was Joe Yerdon.
It was Joe Yerdon.
Who said, Jonas Johansson is on waivers today. He is the worst goalie I have ever covered in 19 years. In my 19 years of covering the NHL, he doesn't even stop shots in practice.
Yikes.
And this was during like the COVID season, so maybe he's grown. Well, we know he hasn't because it's been a rough go to start the year. Who could have predicted that the Lightning would struggle with a starting goaltending, an NHL goaltending tandem of Jonas Johansson and Matt Tompkin, I believe it is.
Yeah, Matt Tompkins.
Yeah.
Who I had to be like, which Tompkins is it? Because there were a couple of them. And that's never a good sign. If I have to Google your goalie, that's probably not.
Look, it's a great story because I believe he was drafted like 7th round 9 years ago or something, and he finally made his debut. But like, if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning, you need to win now because your window is, some could say it's already closed. But
it's closing.
It's closing. Like, it's definitely more than halfway closed.
And they've pissed off their captain, and
they pissed off their captain, and everyone's hurt. Like, everyone's extensions are kicking in now, except for Stamkos, obviously, which is why he's pissed off. Things are not going great, and it's not just the goaltending, because at 5-on-5, as you pointed out here in our prep so lovingly, their expected goals is under 40%.
Yeah, it's 38%.
That's insane.
Like, so not only, it's not like, we're going to have a chat about PDO as well.
We are.
But it's not like the Lightning are outplaying their opponents like the Oilers are and getting unlucky. The Lightning flat out are getting outplayed, outbattled, outshot, outchanced, and outscored.
They're playing poorly.
Yeah, they're bad.
Yes.
Like, they've just started bad, and John Cooper was like, we're just not playing well. Right? And he's usually the first guy to defend his players. So when that kind of comes out, you're like, all right, this is a problem. And it's not like, yes, they're missing Vasilevskiy. Vasilevskiy is not capable of getting expected goals. He just stops them.
Mm-hmm.
So Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, like Victor Hedman, Sergachev, Stamkos, they're all playing.
Sorelli,
like
Brandon Hagel.
Yeah.
All of the, they have a good collection of...
Cernak's playing... So they're arguably less injured.
You said Sergachev, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They're less injured than they were when they nearly beat Toronto in the playoffs last year. The only difference is Vasilevskiy, but they're just not playing well.
And the only difference is they're not playing a team that is playing Justin Hall in top 4 minutes every single night. Speaking of which, Justin Hall, healthy scratch. For the
That's a $3 million contract, folks.
3.4. You keep making that mistake. You always go 0.4 less, and really it's 0.4 worse than you think it is. Pretty remarkable.
It's not great, Bob.
It's not great. What happens here with Tampa? Like how do they just weather this until Vasilevskiy comes back? Till a Vasilevskiy who is rusty because he's missed most of the season to that point, and also potential, and yes, he's healed, but now has an extra set of miles on his body and an extra set of surgery scars. Like, is that their plan?
Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, at some point, Tampa's going to blow it up, right? And they're going to get a ton of value for guys like Point and Cirelli and Vasilevskiy and whatever, but I don't think that time is now. You still have the players, right? And so I think when you look at it, you have to go out and you got to get a goaltender. Like, this is not going to cut it. You need a goalie that is going to be able to hold you up when maybe you're struggling. And they need to figure out their possession. Like, there's lackluster play. They're not executing on their breakouts. They're being forechecked to heck.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just... And Vasilevskiy obviously masks a lot of errors. And I think maybe they're being a little bit exposed.
Yeah.
But they're behind in games, which means that adjusted, they're even worse. Right? You can't be 40% anything and expect to win. Right? The Ducks are 40%. You don't want to be in a category with the Ducks and the Blackhawks. Like,
unless
that's not a cute way to be.
Unless the only time you want to be in a category with the Ducks is like prospect strength, like prospect pipeline strength. That's
pretty much.
Yeah. You talk about them potentially blowing it up, and look, they have good players, but like Braden Point, it's the year is 2023, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Braden Point's under contract for 6 more years, I believe,
Okay.
including this, like after this one. Anthony Cirelli is the exact same. Nick Paul, I believe, is the exact same. Or no, he's
7 more years, I think.
He's until 2028-29, so he's 5 more years. Brandon Hagel, though, he has I believe 7 or 8 more years kicking. He's until 2031-32.
Goodness, that's 9 years.
Now, here's the thing about Mikhail Sergachev is he's 25. He's 2 years younger than us, which is ridiculous. He is still under contract until 2030-31, so that's another 7 years.
Right. And he'll be good for the duration of that contract.
But including this one. Eric Cernak is also 7 years. They have a lot of... And obviously, Vasilevskiy is signed until 2027-28. So while they could blow it up, a lot of the players who they would, quote-unquote, blow it up with, they're under contract for a long time.
Yeah, but if you're a team that is... Let's say you are... We're not going to use Buffalo because they have Dahlin and Power.
Yes.
So you're a team that needs a quality number 1 defenseman because you're entering into your... Like, a competitive window. The Chicago Blackhawks.
I was just about to say it. Let's say, 2-3 years down the line, we talk about the Chicago Blackhawks. So then they're ready.
Yeah, let's say 2 years, because Bedard immediately speeds things up. Mm-hmm. Or you're Edmonton.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, they have no cap space for it, but still,
something like that. But, I'm saying a situation like that. Mm-hmm. Right? So you're Chicago. You have Seth Jones signed until the end of eternity.
Oh, my gosh.
Who even knows why? But... You could get Mikhail Sergachev. That's a legitimate top defenseman. Yeah. And then your team looks a little bit better if Seth Jones is number 2 or number 3.
Then you might have a good Kevin Korchinski at that point
exactly.
as well. Also, speaking of which, Seth Jones on the ESPN 100 players list, Evgenii Malkin not.
He's also ahead of Quinn Hughes, which is... Yeah. I don't need to know what the explanation is for that.
Because it's whatever the explanation is,
it's bad.
It's wrong.
It's bad.
But yes, so Tampa, really, do they just have to hold on until Vasilevskiy gets back? Because keep in mind, Vasilevskiy's not a spring chicken either. You know, this guy is...
I want to say he's 26.
He's 29.
Oh.
Vasilevskiy, he's almost 30.
Oh.
And keep in mind the miles that he already has on his body, and then it would just add...
Well, because they've been riding Vasilevskiy.
Oh, yeah.
He's been playing 65, 70 games.
His backup has been Brian Elliott for the last 2 years.
Ooh.
You know, he hasn't really had a quality... he was the quality backup to Ben Bishop.
Oh my god, I have an idea.
What?
What if Tampa acquired one of the 3 good goalies in Anaheim's system?
What, it's Gibson, Dostal, and...
Eriksson Ek. The young...
There's another Eriksson Ek?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Wow. Ollie Eriksson Ek. Interesting.
So, Anaheim clearly wants to give the net to Dostal.
Yes. Maybe they should have traded John Gibson. Why do they keep holding on to this guy?
I don't understand. It's very silly. But John Gibson is obviously well past his prime. He is comfortably better than Jonas Johansson.
Oh, there
is no debate about that.
I can probably name you 40 NHL goaltenders. 40 goaltenders signed NHL contracts who are comfortably better than Jonas Johansson.
right? Could they maybe make a trade with Montreal for Caden Primo?
Why didn't they?
Or Jake Allen, and then they could bring Caden Primo up. There's so
Why
many
didn't they
teams.
claim Martin Jones? Like, I know it's the obvious answer, but like, what was preventing them from that? Like, what, the $100,000 bonus that the Leafs put into the contract? Like,
people on TikTok said, "Oh, like, team, you don't understand. Like, that's not going to hinder teams. They just didn't want Martin Jones because he's bad." I'm like, you clearly are not up to date on how bonuses are paid out. Paying $100,000 in a single day to a single player when your weekly salary budget is likely in the neighborhood of $400,000 is a lot. That's a 20% jump.
but is that really, like, is Jeff Vinik really gonna...
No.
Like,
He's worth billions.
he's a billionaire. Like, he finds $100,000 in his couch, like, every day. You know?
Yeah.
Like, so that could have... And look, Martin Jones is no spring chicken. Martin Jones is, I would say, not a very good goaltender. He hasn't posted a save percentage above 900. He's hit 900 once, and that was the highest, in 5 years.
Wasn't he good last year?
He had 27 wins. He had an 8.86 save percentage last year.
Good lord!
Like, that goes to show what he can do behind a good defense. And at least his defense
Hey,
has...
that's what Tampa is.
His defense has Victor Hedman, Mikhail Sergachev, Eric Cernak. You know, even, like, Nick Perbix is pretty good. You know, like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, like, so I don't understand why they didn't just go and get that. Like, I get the salary constraints, whatever. It makes it $800,000. That's $25,000 more than the league min. Like, who cares?
And just send Tompkins down.
Yeah.
Done.
Then there you go. Like, or roll with Tompkins and waive Johansson. Like, who cares?
Martin Jones is better than both of them.
Yes, but like, why put yourself in this position? Like, you didn't. Did you really think that Jonas Johansson was the answer to keep?
Whoever said that was a good idea,
Well, it's probably Julian Brisebois.
Like
he made the final decision. He's not gonna.
Yeah, but he always has you have advisors and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you make the final decision. Like you could have your advisors, but he's the one who was like, no, we are not gonna claim Martin Jones for free. And Jeff, could you maybe give him literally the change that's in your pocket right now? Like,
yeah.
If I
I know somebody that literally walks around with $20,000 cash in their wallet and is not as rich as Jeff Vinik.
I want you to give me that person's daily schedule so I can rob them.
There is a non-zero chance that he has $100,000 in his pocket.
If I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull a one-man mission, not Mission Impossible, like Ocean's 11 heist on Jeff Vinik, and I went in and I stole $100,000 from him. How long do you think it would take for him to notice?
He wouldn't. It's a rounding error.
It's a rounding error. It's like, oh, my seed budget for my lawn. For a couple
it's my
months.
Landscaping budget for the summer.
Oh, is that missing? All right. Well, I guess just put $100,000 in that account. We'll be fine.
It's my bathroom renovation.
Why didn't you? There were a lot of, and I know the teams there are, I believe, 5 teams who are carrying 3 goaltenders to start the year just to keep them off waivers. But there were some decent options. Like
Spencer Martin was available.
And to be fair, he did get claimed by Columbus, so likely they had way higher priority than Tampa. So they might have tried to claim him, and he didn't.
Yeah.
But there were goalies available. You could have at least given yourself a better chance to tread water before, because with a goalie of Vasilevskiy's age and Miles, he's 29, but he's got the body probably of a 34-year-old at this point.
What about Calgary? They've got Markstrom, they've got Wolf. They've got to do something there. And
Vladar, Vladar is obviously going to be the odd man out. It's just that Tampa has no cap room. They're so tight up against the cap that they have Logan Brown, who's making league min on LTIR, just to give them a little bit of space.
It's not good.
And they still have Lightning legend Brent Seabrook on LTIR.
Nevertheless,
to give them space. But just because we're in Toronto, so it's off the top of your head. Martin Jones, $800,000. He's a veteran guy. He won 27 games the year before, despite putting up bad numbers. But behind a defense, it's very comparable to yours. Why? And you get to go live in Florida. Which to me is a personal hell, but to most people might be fine.
The only place I want to live in Florida is Disney World.
The only place I want to live in Florida is Star Wars Land inside Disney World. I don't even want to go to the outside part of Disney World. I don't want to wade through a bunch of Mickey Mouses and kids. I want to go into Star Wars World, build my own lightsaber, hit a bunch of kids with it, and then go home.
So okay, this was brought to my attention, and I feel like I need to do this at some point.
Okay.
So Universal Studios is also in Florida.
Yes.
if you guys don't know, I love the Grinch. I basically am the Grinch at certain points during the year.
90% of the year.
90% of the year. There is, after American Thanksgiving, they set up Whoville.
Oh, yeah.
In Universal, and
that's sick as hell.
They have a guy dress up in the Jim Carrey Grinch costume and run around saying Grinch lines, like yelling at people perfectly in character, so much so that Jim Carrey thought it was good. I go see that?
I think you definitely go do that. Do you want to hear a story about that movie, too? That just, now that you bring it up, just off the top of my head. Because Jim Carrey, obviously...
There's
a lot of makeup for that movie, right?
Didn't it? It's like 8 hours, and he had to be trained by like an FBI.
He got trained by a CIA operative on ways to withstand torture.
Yeah.
Because getting and keep in mind that makeup is heavy. It's basically like he said it felt like getting buried alive.
Yeah, it's brutal.
So he had to get trained by a CIA operative on how to adapt your body to the sensation of being buried alive as a form of torture to do that movie. Which, if you ever wonder why there was no Grinch 2,
that would be why.
That would be why. All right.
Because he was literally going to commit a murder if there was.
Exactly. Speaking of murders, I guess the Alex Debrincat trade, because Alex Debrincat, he had a definitely a down year by his personal standards in his one season in Ottawa. Then he did everything possible to try and get out of Ottawa. He finally did. He went to Detroit, and now he's on pace. He's got a hot start. I believe he scored in every single game, and he's on pace for 79 points.
Well, no, he's not on pace for 79 points. My model projects him now to have 79 points, which is, I believe, a 13-point jump.
Yes, 12, because he was, your model originally, jeez Louise.
He cannot talk.
Originally had him at 67 points.
Nice. Almost.
No, not nice. In Toronto, it's the opposite of nice.
It's actually, it's not
bad.
Nice.
It's, instead of being like nice, it's bad.
Alex Debrincat, look, he went home, he's playing in Michigan with another Michigan boy and Dylan Larkin. That line looks great. Mm-hmm. They ran roughshod on Pittsburgh last night. Alex Debrincat, listen, I'm skeptical of the Detroit Red Wings. I still am.
Oh, yeah.
The shooting percentages are going to come out.
That is a house of cards, my friend.
Yeah.
House of cards.
But Alex Debrincat, he signs the contract. They're playing well. That line is playing well.
Yes.
None of the other Red Wings are playing well, but they are playing well.
Mm.
So it's kind of masking a lot of the issues and very high PDO, very high shooting percentage. But hey, you ride that wave, style and flow, every time you can. You're just surfing that wave, riding the wave, until it goes away.
It worked for Nikita Soshnikov all those years ago. Ride the wave.
You use that balloon shooting percentage. And you know what? You can ride a hot wave to at least a bubble sort of situation. If Detroit continues to play well, let's say by American Thanksgiving, they're kind of maybe their first wild card spot. They might not make the playoffs because they're probably going to fall out. But you know what? That means you're playing meaningful games. That's going to be good for your young players like Mo Seider, Simon Edmondson when he's playing, Lucas Raymond. It's a positive. So, I like the Debrincat addition. I don't think Detroit is getting anywhere close to the playoffs. But it's a hot start for Debrincat.
Yep, definitely.
And Larkin, who is also on a new contract. So I don't really, it's entertaining to watch right now, so I'm just going to enjoy it.
I have a question. Because the Florida Panthers, especially if they'd won, but they didn't, but they still went to the Cup final and got close. They obviously squeaked in the last possible with 92 points, which is one of the lowest point totals of any team to make the playoffs in recent memory.
Yep. Which is why the President's Trophy needs to be valued more.
Exactly. But my theory, and I think it's not a theory exclusive to me, I'm sure a million other people have it, is that every team or not every team, but most teams that are like we were talking about with Detroit, where they might be in the second wildcard spot, or 2-3 points out of the second wildcard spot around the trade deadline, are instead of selling, they're going to go for it because they think, why can't we beat Florida? Why can't we sneak in and then give everyone a run for their money?
Oh, the amount of owners.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of a few specifically. The amount of owners who are like going to be within the 5-point range of the playoffs.
Yeah,
they're going to be like, trade
buy.
our first round pick.
They're gonna be like, buy. Because like, think about how many free home dates of gate revenue did the Florida Panthers
You will get. I was going to say yes, but and the thing is Thomas Drance pointed this out aptly. The difference between Florida and everyone else is the year before Florida won the President's Trophy.
Yes.
So if you win the President's Trophy and then you get riddled by injuries and you squeak into the playoffs, like, by all means, yes, you know what? You're probably a better team than your record indicates.
Mm.
If you are a trash heap pile team
yeah.
who is scraping and clawing to get into the playoffs, you ain't going on a Stanley Cup run.
The teams inflate themselves and they look at the big picture. And but what I look at with Detroit is, for as much as we planned on the Yzer plan, because that plan has basically been how many mid players can we acquire and put together, like how many 82 overalls in NHL can we put on one roster together, and potentially even lower than that. Yzerman has done a good job of like recognizing that yes, we might be 3-4 points out of it, but we're not going to make it. So let's sell and regroup for next year. But I wonder if that changes this year. A, because of the Panthers, and B, like they've made a lot of big name signings. They have to do something. I wonder if he shirks that and just goes like, bye, let's do this. Let's go. Let's get as many players, and how that might hurt them in the long run.
I think it really depends on how their young players perform.
Yeah.
Right? If Lucas Raymond takes the step that they need him to take, if Simon Edvinsson comes up and is excellent, if Mo Seider has like a 70-point kind of campaign, they need good goaltending. You need a point per game from Debrincat and Larkin. I think if you get that, maybe. But then again, like, your centers are Larkin, Kopp, and Comfort, and that is not cutting it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a totally different team if Lucas Raymond returns to the player that he looked like he was going to be in his rookie season.
Right, they also have got Marco Kasper, I believe, playing in Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
That's their future second-line center.
Yeah, that's
He is a tank.
And if Elmer Soderblom can kind of get it together, like, that is another sort of unicorn-type player. Like, he is so big, man, but he can move. Like, I don't want to say that every player who's big and can move is Tage Thompson, because I think Tage Thompson is really in a class of his own when it comes to that. But Soderblom is what, 6'7", 6'8"?
He's 6'8".
He's 6'8". Yeah. He's like 235, 240 pounds, and yet he has soft hands.
Like, it's like if Zdeno Chara had soft hands.
Yes.
So he uses his hands to score as opposed to cross-check.
They also, aside from Seider, like, they need a draft pick to hit.
Edvinsson.
Because you would like Edvinsson to hit, you would like Kasper to hit, but like...
I think those two are...
Keep in mind, like, Veleno hasn't hit. Philip Zadina definitely didn't.
No.
He's in.
I think Edvinsson and Kasper
Rasmussen hasn't really hit. Like,
he's coming along.
He's coming along, but like you would expect.
He's a contributing. Well, I mean, I didn't like that pick when it was made.
No, but he was like what, a top 15 pick? Like he was.
Yeah, he was like 9.
Yeah, he was a top 10 pick. So like you would hope a top 10 pick who was picked like what 4 years ago at this point would be more than just a contributor, especially as a forward.
Yeah, and I think. That's why you've got Edvinsson, who I think is a pretty big case to hit. Marco Kasper has all the intent.
All the potentials.
Yeah, he is really who I'm excited about for Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he was a huge riser in his draft year, and rightfully so. Like, if he didn't get taken at 6, wherever Detroit took him, Buffalo was taking him at 7. They were going to take him instead of Savoy.
How quick do you think their sprint to the stage would have been, like miles per hour, compared to when Benson was still on the board?
Slower, but not much slower.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, LOL.
I want to see the 40-yard dash times for that. Just like, if he was available, they would have been able to bolt right to the stage. Speaking of second-line centers, I guess, at this point in their career, Evgenii Malkin. Noted not 100, or not top 100 player. But he has 7 points in 3 games to start the year.
Is that good?
I think he's good. I think he's got his swagger back, as the kids like to say.
So he's finally got some line mates in Riley Smith and Ricard Raquel.
Can we talk about Riley Smith? The acquisition of Riley Smith
for nothing.
For a 3rd-round pick. What a masterstroke! Like, give Kyle Dubas all the credit in the world. Mess up Rachel's one shot here with my hand. But like that was a remarkable pick or a remarkable trade because A, you give up nothing, and you take advantage of you're able to take advantage of a team that doesn't want to lose this player, but like how Jeff Merrick says like when you expect teams to throw you life rafts, they throw you anvils.
Yeah.
Like that's what Dubas did, and he was able to get Riley Smith, who is looking like a perfect top six forward for them. He's creating space. Jesse Marshall was like, having a borderline orgasm about him on Twitter last night. Shout out Jesse.
Love Jesse.
So it was pretty great.
Yeah, that acquisition was fantastic the day it happened, and that's something where a team gets creative. They understand what situations other kind of teams are in, and they're able to take advantage of it. And Riley Smith is going to be, whether he's playing beside Crosby or beside Malkin, he is going to get power play time, and he's kind of that nice fit, right? So you've got your top line with Crosby, Gensel, and Russ.
Yeah.
And then you've got Raquel, Malkin, and Smith. That's a legitimate top six.
Absolutely.
And it's pretty formidable too, especially if Malkin's decided he's doing his boogeyman situation. Because Evgenii Malkin's one of those guys, he's 6'4", he's massive, and when he decides to take over a game, it is a problem.
Yeah, he has maybe not recently just because of the amount of injuries he's had.
Right.
But he at a time it was almost like Malkin was better when Crosby wasn't there.
He absolutely was.
I'm sure if you look at the splits between Malkin solo and then Malkin and Crosby together.
I think the split was like
he was like a point per game.
It was like 1.4 points per game without Sid and just under a point per game with.
Like he's able to take over when he's the guy.
That's why when people are like, oh, if you traded Malkin, he wouldn't be as good. I'm like, we literally saw Malkin without Crosby.
If anything, he might be better. If anything, you might, you make him the guy. You let him cook, if you will.
Malkin was this close to not re-signing with Pittsburgh.
Yes, it came down to the wire.
I think that had he done that, maybe this narrative would have kind of dissipated. I'm happy he didn't, because I like the Infinity Stones that Pittsburgh's collecting.
Mm-hmm.
Erik Karlsson scored his first goal.
He got 2 points last night.
Yep.
Great. Good to see.
Good to see. Things we love to see.
What is it with the Evgenii Malkin disrespect? Or because he got left off the top 100 NHL players,
which was ridiculous.
List, which was even, if you want to make an argument like that,
this is a stupid list. That is
that came out in I believe 2016-17.
It was the NHL Centennial year,
which was even closer to, or which was 1 year removed from Malkin winning back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Did he not win the Conn Smythe?
He's won a Conn Smythe. He has. I'll bring it up right now.
Sid won that last Conn Smythe, but no, Malkin's won.
And he should, he shouldn't have won that first Conn Smythe. And I will go to my grave.
No, it should have been Kessel.
It should have been Philip J. Kessel, and I will never forgive the voters for that. And I have. When I eventually get a Conn Smythe, this is my rant. When I eventually get a Conn Smythe vote, which will hopefully be in the next year or two, I will.
Well, maybe don't rant while you're scrolling on your computer.
I will rectify that. No, I'm just pulling up Evgenii Malkin, who has 3 goals.
Which, by the way, you should not be able to vote on the Conn Smythe if you are not in-person attendance at the Cup final.
Yes.
You have to watch the games.
Exactly. Malkin, I want a 3-time Cup winner. He won the the All-Rookie team. Sorry, he won 2 Art Rosses. He won a Hart. He won a Lester Pearson Award, which is Ted Lindsay. And he did win. He won the Conn Smythe in 08-09. He also won the Calder. You're telling me, on top of that, he's got
3 cups. He's
got 1,230. He almost has 500 goals, almost 800 assists. He's got 1,236 points in just over 1,000 games. This is one of the greatest players of all time, and he's been left off now 2 monumental top 100 lists. Why do people keep disrespecting Evgenii Malkin? I do not get it.
Yeah, the disrespect is just insane. I cannot. You have Seth Jones on the list.
I believe at number 54, I think it was, or even higher.
I don't know. All I know is Quinn Hughes was at 60, and that was below Seth Jones.
In what world? I need to know in what And I know
you have Patrick Laine at 83.
Patrick Laine has done nothing in recent years.
And I can understand. Okay, if you're saying for future, Well, then, first of all, Connor Bedard... The fact that Connor Bedard wasn't on the list, he's already a top 10 player in the league. Like...
I don't know if he's top 10 yet. Like,
By the end of this year, he's a top 10 player in the league.
Yeah.
Like, 100%. Right now, he's top 50. Going away, top 50. But I would say by Christmas, we're talking about him as a top 10 player in the league. Like, he's that good.
Which will bleed into our next chat here.
But with Malkin, like, I don't get it.
Like, what is it? What is it about this guy?
Is it because he doesn't like to talk to the media? Is it because...
For a guy who doesn't like to talk to the media, he sure gives a lot of entertaining quotes.
Right,
like,
he's so funny.
Like, he is extremely funny. For a guy who might have that against him, he sure does give you a lot of column fodder, if you will. Like, that's what I think. Like, now that I am, part of the establishment... Now that I am in the media or whatever, like...
The media!
I can see why a guy like Paul Maurice, for example, gets so much leeway, because, let me tell you, Rachel, that guy is, quote, Christmas. Him
and Rick Bonus.
Yes. If you are on deadline, and you need, like, quotes to fill out an article at, like, 11 p.m. when you don't really want to write, like... And Paul Maurice steps up to the stage and gives you like 3 bangers, you're going to be like, never fire this guy. I want him there forever. I can see that. I can respect it. I understand I used to make fun of people for that. Now I'm like, I get it. Evgenii Malkin is a lot like that, even in the sense that, like, yes, he might not talk to the media all the time. He might pull up Marshawn Lynch every once in a while. But when he does talk, he gives very, very good quotes. He's usually pretty candid.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back.
Exactly. Like,
he's like, we play bad. Okay.
This guy's a 3-time Cup winner. He's won a Conn Smythe. He's won a Hart. He's won 2 Art Rosses. He won the Calder. He was on the All Rookie team. He's been an Olympian. He's been an All-Star. Why?
It's honestly ridiculous.
Seth Jones has done none of that, by the way.
Zero of those things.
He is 0 for 6 of what I just mentioned.
A lot of players are over on what you just mentioned.
I don't think you can put a guy in the top 50 whose contract is widely agreed to be the worst in the league.
No.
Like, I don't think that's I think that should just...
If Seth Jones was 100 and Malkin wasn't on the list, it would be
a travesty. I'm surprised the city of Pittsburgh isn't riding right now. Maybe they're
too busy yelling about the Steelers.
That's true. There's a lot to yell about. Even though I believe NFL Network had them number 5 on their power rankings, which is absurd.
They had what?
I believe I saw that, yes.
Oh my god, that's not good.
I did find it very funny, though, that I believe it was during the opener against Connor Bedard, Pittsburgh, and you know a lot about the NFL because you host a show and you do a lot of that kind of stuff, the Pittsburgh crowd, because it was in Pittsburgh, started chanting Fire Canada. And because that is in reference to terrible Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator Matt Canada, but I have to imagine that a lot of players who didn't know that were like, why is everyone giving me a xenophobic rant right now? Why is everyone saying to fire Canada? It made no sense. But yes, why? We will never understand why there is such a disrespect and such a repeated disrespect for Evgenii Malkin.
Yeah, and I'm not really interested in any explanation because there is no explanation that is going to be acceptable.
Even if you want to make the argument that he is Crosby's sidekick or running mate.
Okay, well, so is Draisaitl.
Yes, which is not, but let's just say that. Again, we bring back the Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen argument. Scottie Pippen made the Hall of Fame. Scottie Pippen was constantly on top 10, top 100 lists. Scottie Pippen made the NBA 75 team, which is the 75th anniversary of the NBA. They put the 75 best players. Scottie Pippen was in there. Why do we keep I'm gonna
go Wizard of Oz, buddy. With a hold on.
Hit me.
Okay, by this logic, if Superman to Batman, if that's the logic.
No, we're doing Batman to Robin.
Batman to Robin.
Batman is his own super. Batman is no one's sidekick.
Okay, if you're going Batman Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Then Mitch Marner can't be on the list, Leon Draisaitl can't be on the list, Cale Makar can't be on the list, or Nathan McKinnon, pick whatever one you want, Mikko Rantanen can't be on the list. Who else can't be on the list?
Braden Point to Nikita Kucherov.
Exactly. That's the logic we're
Devin
using.
Devin Taves to Cale Makar.
That's the logic we're
apparently.
using.
And in that logic, I believe Mitch Marner thinks Austin Matthews can't be on the list. We're going to be real about that.
But that's what we're going with.
Apparently,
and it's not like Marner and Matthews play together. Draisaitl and McDavid play a lot together. Malkin and Crosby do not and have not played together.
They've never been on the same line.
Yeah, so he's driving his own line, and putting up all these points, and is not being credited for what he's doing. And also, Sidney Crosby was on that list at like 30-something. Hello?
He's also like, not only does Malkin drive his own line, he consistently plays better without his supposed, like Batman. Like it's like if Robin flourished as Gotham City's protector without Batman. Like
I will not stand for this disrespect.
I want someone like send us replies on Twitter. That's what the kids do these days, right? To be like to help explain why this is happening, because I genuinely want to know. I'm tired of getting Malkin disrespect. I'm tired of it.
The only tweets I want to see about Malkin are when it's like somebody's being pulled out of the lineup. Just Malkin ?
That's my favorite.
That's the best bit in
hockey
Twitter.
I believe that's thanks to Mark Madden. I believe who
I think
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
God bless him.
All right. We're at least you're a nerd on this podcast. I'm more of a geek, I think. But
what is the difference?
The geeks are more into like superheroes and comics and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's not me.
Nerds are more math.
That's me.
Exactly. So why don't we talk about PDO? I think that's the natural way to do it. PDO. PDO is...
Okay, so, I feel like you probably know what it means by now, but PDO is like...
It's save percentage and shooting percentage combined, basically.
Yeah, basically measures like how lucky you're getting.
Yeah. So if a team has a 900 shooting percentage and they have a 10% shot... a 900 save percentage and a 10%... and they're shooting 10%, I believe that's what, a 91 PDO? Or is that 100 PDO?
That's 100
That's 100 PDO, yes. Usually it's a great way. It's not perfect, but it's a great way to calculate luck.
It's a snapshot.
Yeah, because it says how lucky they are at shooting the puck and how unlucky they are at stopping the puck for a team. And so it's a great way 3 games into the season for us to take a look at
who should be panicking and who maybe needs to just settle it down.
Because let's say a team has a slow start and you go, oh no, well maybe they have
Oilers.
The Oilers, or for example. So let's talk about the highest PDO first. That is the Canucks, the Sens, the Ducks, and the Habs.
Yeah. So the Canucks, they got outplayed by Edmonton in both games, and they just Edmonton's goaltending was a trash heap.
Yeah, to be fair, Jack Campbell did bring it together in the third game. He played very well.
Yeah, I'm talking about the first 2 games.
Yes, the first 2 games they got destroyed by the Canucks.
Trash heap. Which is why the Canucks PDO is probably so high, is because, they played the Oilers who were getting goaltending that, my grandmother might have done better with. So, you got that. So, the Oilers are going to be fine. They're winning the possession game. They're winning the scoring chance battle. They're going to be fine because their goaltending is not going to be .740 for the whole year. It just simply will not occur.
You would think so.
Right?
You never know, though.
So, you have that, right? But from a high perspective, the Habs, they're going to fall off.
They just lost Kirby Dach out for the year.
The
ACL
Ducks.
And MCL. The Ducks
are about to play Dallas. So, there might be a problem.
That's why I'm starting the entire Dallas first line in my fantasy lineup tonight.
So, then you have the Sens. The Sens, everyone's like, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. Their PDO right now, I believe, is 113. A high PDO is 105. They're 113.
They're off the chart, basically.
Yeah, they would break the chart.
Yeah.
Usually the chart is 95 to 105.
And to be fair, they're doing this without trading Vladimir Tarasenko after the first game he ever played with the
I
Sens.
know, wow. He scored last night.
He did. He also got 2 assists the game after.
Interesting.
A prominent media member said, hey, Dorian should just get what he can from right now.
What is the worst opinion? Trade a player after 1 game or Evgenii Malkin not in the top 100?
Evgenii Malkin.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
The Sens are not, they're a much better team. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
They're not a top 5 team in the league. Get lost.
They are exciting.
I love watching them. They're so entertaining.
They have a lot of great players. I picked them to make the playoffs. It goes against my entire brand, but I had to because I didn't want to look like
right. But they're gonna come back down to earth. So what you're likely gonna see is they're red hot right now. They've got shooters that are red hot. They've got goaltending that is a little bit of a house of cards. So they're likely they're gonna be one of those streaky teams this year, right? You win a lot, you lose a lot, and it's basically gonna go with their PDO. Because their expected goals and underlying metrics are fine, but not this good. It's just not sustainable. I could see them kind of being, I guess, like a bubble team.
Yeah, that's where it happened.
Yeah, but they're not a top 5 team in the league.
No, absolutely not.
They're not this wagon that my Twitter timeline would tell me they are.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think it's great that we let Sens fans
enjoy it
because they've been threatened with relocation. They've been basically spat on by Evgenii Malkin. One of these fans gave Evgenii Malkin his kidney, and then Evgenii Malkin was basically like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, if you don't buy tickets, I'm going to move this team." That's what he did.
No, they got Michael Anlauer, who
yes.
is obviously a much better owner. I'm thrilled for Sens fans because they deserve this.
Yes,
but yeah, let's be realistic.
No,
like, in the same way that Austin Matthews is not going to score 200 goals.
Yeah, it remains to be seen.
The Ottawa Senators are not going to win the division. They're not, there's none of that. They're a pesky team that will be a nuisance to play in the playoffs, but right now are overperforming their metrics.
Absolutely. And now, Rachel, before we move on to our final topic, I just want to ask you a question. Is it a good thing to sign a goaltender, to be a capped-out team to the point where you cannot sign a 22-year-old center who had 20 goals in his first full NHL season?
Not ideal.
Not ideal. And then also had to ice a team that was one player short on opening night. Keep in mind, you're that team. Is it a good idea to sign a goaltender with a very troubling track record to a 5-year deal and then put him in a tandem with a guy who's been a career backup in Anton Forsberg to start the year? Is that a good way to allocate your dollars?
No.
Yeah, because...
So basically they gave Pierre Dorian license to use the salary cap, and he used it terribly.
It reminds me a lot of when I got my first job. I got my first paycheck, and I was like, I could save this. I could potentially invest it. I could save up for a new bike, or put this in a college fund. And instead, I spent it all on comic books and I believe an Xbox that I didn't end up playing. That's basically what he did.
I did something different with my paycheck.
What a shock.
But then you have the lower PDO teams. The
yes.
Oilers, the Leafs, the Flames. They're not going to get the goaltending that they've been getting.
Yeah, it's funny how the Leafs have scored... obviously they only scored one against Chicago the other night, but they scored 13 goals combined in their first 2 games. And yet they still have one of the lowest PDOs because A, their shooting percentage hasn't been great, but also their save percentage, they just have not been getting goaltenders.
No, they just haven't, and neither have the Oilers. And so, they're going to come back up. Everything evens out, right? You're going to see, the Ducks are not making the playoffs, the Habs are not making the playoffs. It's not happening. Whereas, the Oilers are going to make the playoffs, the Leafs are going to make the playoffs. Things will even out. It's game 3.
Yeah.
Right? My model hasn't even normalized yet. We're not getting there until Halloween. Right? So I think everyone just take a sweet breath. Your team is probably not as bad as you think it is and probably not as good as you think it is.
Exactly. Speaking of not as bad and not as good as you think it is, Connor Bedard
is good.
He's very, very good. I wrote about him the other day just in terms of the media onslaught and how it's a good thing. But he's played 4 games. He's got 1 goal.
Bust.
Clearly bust right out the gate. Now, here's the thing about Connor Bedard is that he is leading the NHL. He's tied with Austin Matthews, who, keep in mind, has 6 goals in 3 games. He's tied with Austin Matthews for the NHL lead with 28 individual scoring chances each. Nobody else even has 17.
Wow.
He is over, Matthews and Bedard, but specifically Bedard, because we're talking about him, has 12 more individual scoring chances than the next closest player below him. Keep in mind, he's played 4 NHL games. It's crazy.
He's averaging 7 scoring chances a game.
He is shooting 5%.
When that regression to the mean happens, it is going to be hilarious. He's gonna score freaking 10 goals in 8 games or something like that.
Yeah.
When you're generating when you're generating, and players like Bedard usually shoot between 15 and 17%,
mm-hmm.
when he starts shooting where he's capable of shooting, he's going to have one of those Matthews things where he's either back-to-back hat tricks or 10 goals in 6 games or whatever the case may be. He's so talented to be creating 7 individual scoring chances per game on the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at his supporting cast. Yes, Taylor Hall is still a good player, but after Taylor Hall, you have similar, somewhat rookies, or Andreas Anathanasiou and a washed
Corey
Nick
Perry,
Foligno, a washed Corey Perry. Ryan Donato, who was like not qualified, like stuff like that, right?
To be doing what Bedard is doing, he's going to get his cookies, and he's going to regress positively in a real big way.
Should we say that Bedard's low scoring, should we say that Bedard's 5% shooting percentage is fine? Should we make that our This Is Fine segment, and it's not, keep for the rest of the league to be oh boy. Because, make no mistake, the barrage is coming. This will not sustain for very long. Teams are going to need to batten down the hatches.
Because he's going to light their rinks on fire.
The levees are about to break.
Yeah.
This kid has, Austin Matthews got out to a historic start to the season. Literally. When's the last time a player has...
And if Connor Bedard shot the same as Austin Matthews did, he'd also have 6 goals. And we would be talking about...
We would be there would be a religion. We'd be
Bedardism.
We would be on our knees right now in front of a picture of Bedard, giving him thanks for allowing us for all the bountiful blessings he's given us. Instead, he's got 1 goal. He's shooting 5%. And keep in mind, he also has 3 points in 4 games, which is still pretty good. But in terms of the math,
don't forget he's played Toronto, Boston, and Pittsburgh in 3 of his first 4
absolutely.
games. That's...
And as we mentioned on the show on the last show, the Blackhawks schedule, they have 2 games against non-playoff contenders until Christmas, basically. Yeah. They are playing. They're getting a healthy helping of Vegas. And
yeah,
all
but
these
when he
players.
gets going, defenses are going to be saying
this is fine. So yeah, we just wanted. This is more of a PSA. If we could put it on the emergency broadcast system, be Bedard warning,
Bedard warning,
woo! Get into solid ground, go underground, lock your doors.
Hide your kids, hide your wife,
and hide your husband, because Bedard is
he's going to be scoring up in here.
Exactly. So yeah, we like to say that. Rachel, I believe this is the end of the podcast.
I believe this is.
I believe it is.
End of our. What day is it today?
It is Thursday.
Yeah, so that's where. In case we're wondering how my week's going.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for listening. We finally have mics. This is great. So yeah, we're finally a real podcast, which is lovely. We will be back. Obviously, follow us on TikTok, Instagram. And check out and subscribe on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. I've always wanted to do the YouTuber.
Like and subscribe.
Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Or do the Steve Dangle. Like this video. Like if you really like it. Tell all your friends. And or it's like this.
No, if you like.
If you like it. Subscribe if you really like it.
Tell all your friends.
And I'm a dork.
Mike is not able to speak today.
I really am not. Which is probably a good reason why we're ending the show right now. So, yes, we're also back with the Bet and Jam action show for the Hockey News. Rachel and I, teeing you up for a night, 3 days a week, teeing you up for all you bettors out there.
Using Kevin,
which is your model.
Yep.
Yes, which is gonna be great. So we are back with that. We got a lot of fun stuff. So stay tuned. We'll be back on Monday.